Hi, friends. It's been a little while since I did a live, and I've been feeling Saturn in Pisces. Um, Saturn entered the first degree of Pisces on March the 7th, which is just a little over a week ago. And I just want to revisit some of the snippets that Ellias Lonsdale shared in his 13 Holy Nights in December of 2022 and January 2023, just to give a little highlight of what Saturn in Pisces is about to support us all as we navigate this most deep um, cosmic weather. And I see I have a couple of viewers. If you guys can hear me or you can't hear me or there's anything going on, I would love it if you would put it in the comments just to know that I am coming through okay. That's one of the challenges of live is you just never know, if you're coming through or not. So welcome, and without further ado, these are just some snippets. So here we go. When Saturn goes into Pisces in March of this coming year, it will stay there. It won't go back to Aquarius. Usually it goes back and forth, but this time it doesn't. So once it goes into Pisces, it's there for 2.5 years. And Saturn in Pisces is a decisive influence because it brings us into our deeper hidden places. It makes us face, it makes us live out, it makes us come to grips with our innermost story. It begs us, it entreats us to take the plunge all the way. I know that some of you will say you've already taken the plunge and it's taken you too far already. Not true. No, it hasn't taken you too far already. If we had gone too far already, the world would have changed. No, we haven't gone far enough at all. The time to go all the way is 2023, 2024, and 2025. And Saturn in Pisces will take us there. I have the Staple Singers in my background in my mind going, ooh, I'll take you there. Ooh, I'll take you there. And Saturn in Pisces has a very different energy than that, but that's just the playful part of me wanting to lighten things up a little bit because Saturn in Pisces is actually very, very heavy. So I'm just creating a little balance in the situation here. So continuing with the transcript, and there's only, I don't know, maybe 3, 4 more minutes of this. So when Saturn goes into Pisces in March of this coming year, and I don't want to say it that way. There's 3 or 4 more precious minutes of this, meaning I'm not going to go on and on for 15 minutes or a half an hour today, and this is worth listening to. I hope that you can listen and hear and take this in because I think it will really support you in navigating the cosmic weather that we're in for this next 2.5 years, actually, and adjusting to what it's like to be in Saturn and Pisces. Okay, and forgive my cold. I'm getting over a cold. When Saturn goes into Pisces in March of this coming year, it will stay there. I already did that. Okay. But what it is doing, what Saturn in Pisces is doing, is it's bringing us the soul depth, the emotional power, the magical intensity of the hidden worlds that we have been skirting along and not really going far enough into at all. In the years of Saturn in Sagittarius, Saturn in Capricorn, and Saturn in Aquarius, which is these last 7.5 years, we've been really tripping out on Saturn, which means we haven't actually been dropped through in the Saturnian sense. And so what that shows up as is that we've been using Saturn to do, and listen to this carefully, we've been using Saturn to pulverize ourselves and turn against ourselves and to perceive ourselves through a glass darkly. And when Saturn conjoined Pluto at the beginning of 2020 in Capricorn, that's when we in earnest came into a space that was, and still is, extremely difficult and painful for the soul, because what happens with Saturn conjunct Pluto in Capricorn, and we'll be getting to Pluto on another day, is we find that we are sorely tempted to negate our own soul's journey. The great temptation of 2020, 2021, and 2022 has been to view ourselves in the way that heavy karma and gross conditioning view self. We've all tended to turn it back upon ourselves that we're experiencing what we're experiencing. In other words, we blame ourselves that we're going through what we're going through. And we blame ourselves in a way that we feel guilty and bad and wrong and awful. And that is not how we're meant to talk to ourselves and how we're meant to treat ourselves. And it does go with the territory. It's part of the experience. However, Saturn in Pisces says, if you're going to be so intense about the whole thing, if you're going to want yourself to be actually getting through to a new reality, why don't you actually take the journey instead of beating yourself over the head with what you're not doing all the time? I'm going to say that again. Saturn in Pisces says, if you're going to be so intense about the whole thing, if you're going to want to be actually getting through to a new reality, why don't you actually take the journey instead of beating yourself over the head with what you're not doing all the time? Saturn in Pisces is the key to 2023. It's the super key. I never would have thunk it, but it is. And Saturn in Pisces does have its shadow side. I won't be shy about this either. A kind of follow through in a way to the worst of what we've been going through in recent years, which is it has an impulse towards annihilation. It has an impulse towards getting over with it. There will be many people that do that. There will be many people that will wipe out with Saturn in Pisces. There were many people wiping out in the previous cycles with Saturn in Pisces. It definitely has a very dark, corrosive side to it, where if you don't take up the journey, if you don't join yourself in the deeper places, then you despair and you just feel that there's nothing left in this world for you. And many people will discover that because they're not willing and able to respond, to receive, to be here with the planet going through her changes, instead, they're caught in a negative vortex action where they really can't allow themselves to keep on probing and penetrating further. It's a cause of great compassion and great grief to contemplate the extent to which human souls are not ready for Saturn and Pisces right now. And finally, the last snippet, which is actually from a different transcript, is, can you even pledge yourself during 2023 that if it turns out that the collective energy needs to dive. Let me try that again. This is so deep, I'm tripping over my words. Can you even pledge yourself during 2023 that if it turns out that the collective energy needs to dive to the very bottom, that you can, instead of resenting it and complaining about it and judging it and condemning it, that you could actually say yes to it, that you could actually dig into it with passion? Could you do that? Is it possible that that's what's called for? So that's what I have to share about Saturn in Pisces today. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is DeSutter. I'm a soul level astrologer. I have a private practice called Living Future Astrology. You can find me at www.livingfutureastrology.com. And I was sharing with you from a transcript from Ellias Lonsdale, my teacher's teacher. My teacher's Mark Borax, who developed soul level astrology. Ellias Lonsdale is my teacher's teacher, and he developed this system. He brought in this system called Star Genesis. And so these were his words that I was sharing with you, and I hope that they're helpful. And yeah, thank you for listening. Okay, take care.